Luminosity, the defending major champions, are about to meet G2 in our second game of the Pro League Finals here live from the Leicester studio. It's going to be interesting now. I mean, we have a lot more of Luminosity recently. We've seen a lot more of the Brazilians. New face joining us on the desk, by the way, guys. We've got Jason Moses O'Toole. Blue firing shots at you, by the way. First game of the day, and he just opened up the Savage draw.
It's these young kids. Yeah. They always want to get part of the. They always want to eat at the cool table, you know. Feel like they got to prove themselves. Okay. Overcompensate a little bit. It's all right.
Moving swiftly on into Luminosity versus G2, I think the main discussion point is going to be where the French side are at. They've come into this as this kind of a little bit more of an unknown. Luminosity, especially from Austin, you said already that Yanko are looking hot, and I just want you to quickly touch on that before we spend the majority of our time exploring G2.
They've been really looking amazing lately, individually and as a team. They switched out Cash for Dust2 in their map pool, and you know, people have been picking it against them in the NA scene, in all the online leagues. And they've just been crushing it on it. Of course, you know, you need to take into account it's the teams over there. Maybe if they played Tier 1 teams from Europe, it would be a different result, but they've just been looking really solid across the board.
And that gives us plenty of time then to talk about G2, Jason. A team, where do you currently kind of have these guys in just in your personal rankings? Is this a team that's on your radar at this point?
Not really. I need to see more out of them. I mean, it's just that it's so weird. I still can't get over the fact that Existence is gone in this current meta, where tactics and strategy are coming back and having this resurgence where this can really drive your team forward. And he's the one who was left out in the cold. So I mean, I think they obviously have a lot to prove. They did seem to get the the upper deal of bringing in the LDLC players, having the stronger one. But it's nothing's really impressed me so far out of them. To be honest,
all eyes still on Body. He hasn't had that performance. Would you say that
he's been playing good? He's been playing all right for stepping up to a new level. I mean, and it comes back to the conversation with G2. It's always going to be, are we ever going to see Shox come back to form? Yeah, are we ever going to see the Shox that we've known and loved? It was the best player in the world at one point, and he's the one who, if Existence is gone, and there's always been that leadership struggle with Shox and Existence. If he now has control of that, then everything should kind of point in that direction. Like this, he has no more. He should feel supremely comfortable.
He should. It's just the question of whether or not we will ever see that vintage Shox again. I think that's something that a lot of people have been waiting an awful lot for. But, I mean, where are they going to be playing? That's always question number one. And we can go ahead and bring up that veto. We saw before things were a little wonky, but now we see, it looks like we're going to be jumping into Train. Now, I mean, we were talking about Train just in the previous matchup as a map that not all teams favor to pick. Yanko, does this make sense between these two?
I think this is good for G2 because it's one of their best maps, I would say, alongside with Dust2, probably their second best map, and then Cash is also there. So I'm a bit surprised when it came between these two maps that Luminosity actually went for Train over Cobble, because I feel that it's not really that strong of a map for G2. Maybe they could have picked that, it would have been better for them. But across the board, I think that Luminosity is a better team all over, and I say that the Train is one of their best maps, and they'll be playing okay on it online, but then when we got to Malmo, they lost to Godsend on it pretty comfortably. So for me, it's going to be whether G2 can perform on LAN here.
Just quickly, regarding this, you saw Luminosity remove Dust2. Previously, we kind of critiqued them as a team that shouldn't be banning away maps that they're better at because they wanted to, take challenge themselves in the group stages. Is this something that we've just seen here, or is this a win no matter what for them, Jason?
I think it's just coming down to that point where they're taking away a good map for their opponent. Like Yanko said, Dust2, a good map for G2. Just take it out of the pool. Why let it in? You have a deeper map pool than this team, so just go with that.
And with all of that kind of covered, I do want to quickly address how you guys can let us know your thoughts. Hit us up over on social media. ESL Pro League is where you need to get yourself. And that means that hopefully they're going to be throwing predictions at us, which means you should be doing the same. I mean, okay, Optic have already blown everything that we thought we knew out of the water. You know what's funny is I didn't even bother asking for predictions in game one because we were like hammering on Optic, and I was like, okay, it's obviously going to call Astralis. This is a bit different. Favoring the major champions, Yanko?
Yeah, well, you have to favor them here. We don't know which G2 is going to show up, but anything can happen, and it is a map they play. If they get off to a good start on the T side, which is the harder side, they might make it close, but I just feel that Luminosity is too hot right now.
Yeah, and as well, I mean, Luminosity has that, what we've seen out of them, what we saw out of them in Austin and even previously, that this double-up setup that's emerging with Fallen and Cold is just so strong. And then you go over to the G2 side and they have Smiths. So he's going to have a huge game. That's a big challenge for the Opera of G2. And yeah, I think that double-up setup, and even if without it, I think if it's just a single-up, I think Luminosity is still going to take this.
Can the Brazilians continue to bring the spice, bring the fire that they've already demonstrated over in Austin, Texas not too long ago? Now, we've experienced one North American upset already. Let's see if the second can come from South America, as it's going to be Luminosity going up and against G2. Let's get straight into it.
Considered him to be in sort of that top op dispute that kind of existed in the middle of last year when Skadoodle was in his form, when Guardian was in his form, when Kenny S was in his form. As of right now, no one can debate the fact that he's in the top 3 or 4 oppers. And as Moses said on the desk, this emerging talent of Cold Zero bringing up a second AWP, and that means not only does Smiths have to win one op battle, but there's going to be 2 that are equal to him or better in some cases on the other side.
The thing is about Fallen as well, you talk about in terms of like, you're talking about like individual skill in terms of the AWP, right? In terms of like a complete package, a complete player,
Yes, absolutely.
I think Fallen's number 1 in that respect. The fact he can actually read a team and work out what his teammates going to be doing and actually have that kind of impact for his teammates as well, I feel like that almost gets him to the number 1 position. Like Guardian's great, obviously, in terms of individual skill and what he can do, but you're talking about a complete package. It's like the comparison. Let's go back to F1 here. You like Alonso, right? Because he's probably the most complete racer there is, right? He can go.
Oh, you're finally admitting it.
Yeah, so he can feed back to his team and kind of have really good information for them. It's that kind of thing. He may not be the fastest on the track necessarily, but he's actually, in terms of how beneficial he is to his teammates, that's actually a really strong package to have on your side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can't just be firing the AWP. And I mean, that's the thing with Fallen as well. We've often talked about being an AWP in-game leader in the past and how it can weigh you down. We talked about Adren for a while. There's been lots of examples, but Fallen throws all that to the wayside. I mean, he is sheer proof that you can do both, comfortably do both, and be successful at it. So, I mean, I think that excuse has kind of been overused in a lot of situations, and in some cases it's true for some very tactical minds that don't stop thinking, but Fallen is both of those and yet can still find the frags. Nico, maybe less tactical, but also is another example of an in-game leader that can still get a lot of kills. So
it's going to be interesting to see how Body mixes into this lineup as well. We've seen Body recast him a few times now. I've been very impressed. Like, the guys kind of talked about whether we've seen that brilliant game from him. Yeah, I think we have. I feel like his performance and how fresh he is to the team, especially on like maps like Dust 2, when he's given that anchor position towards the B side, I feel like he's performed above and beyond expectations. If you want to take a raw comparison between him and Devil, I feel like Body's been an amazing pickup for them, and considering if you're using that as the gauge.
And that being the gauge, I think that all just came down to timing and a bit of I mean, Body was the stand-in for Envious on countless occasions when they couldn't get all 5 players on for whatever reason, if it was personal issues, if it was internet issues. It didn't matter. Not so much in LAN situations, obviously, but when they had online matches, he was very commonly picked. Once LDLC White went into this season, this 2016 campaign, in the first set of minors, not only that, the assembly tournament in Finland, because Devil outperformed Body in those 2 tournaments, it was the timing, and I think Envious went toward him for that reason instead, but it was super bizarre because they picked up Devil, who played a lurk role, and threw him into a support role on Envious, which never worked, and Body was more consistent throughout the previous, those 2 months, sure, Devil beat him, but the previous 6 months before that, it was always Body.
Well, it looks like we are getting into this one. Let's hope we get a bomb on the pistol round. That would be ideal.
Yeah. I agree. Bombs are nice.
It does say knife, though.
In CS.
Do we have a knife here? I don't think we do we?
We do not. So this should be...
Is this live, then?
I do believe it should be.
Although
in the best of 1 format.
Yeah, so... It looks like we do have.
Yeah, we do have a knife in the best of 1 format. Okay, so in the best of 3s, just to clarify, this is where the confusion comes from. In the best of 3s,
that's right.
A little bit later on today, and it's not on screen anyway, so it doesn't matter, but we'll let you know who wins it. In the best of 3s, whoever picks the map, the alternative team picks the side.
Sure.
And the second map, the same thing. The third map is when we knife. But as this is a best of 1 and the veto process essentially leaves us with 1 neutral ground, they do have to knife for sides. So right now it actually, I mean, on train with the current meta, it doesn't matter as much, but
I
definitely
think
between these, I was going to say between these 2 teams, if I'm G2, I want CT. Because we know Luminosity can get rolling and get a ton of terrorist-sided rounds, and then they have momentum, and they're extremely hard to tilt and get in their skin and start to win an economy game when they have the lead. So I think it's a very important situation for G2. Unfortunately, though, they lost that knife. We just found out Luminosity are actually going to get the start that they want, and they're going to stay on the CT side.
Indeed. So Luminosity, like we said, that's when they really get rolling. If they win this pistol and get some economy on their side, that's when G2 are in a lot of trouble here. They need to be very careful. The pistol for the terrorists available, we've cost a lot of recently. We'll say like the B bomb site's a heavy area of contention. You'll see a lot of teams almost going for the straight up rush sometimes straight on the lower ramp, or you can go for that kind of bird's eye view of the site going towards the upper platform. And the idea is, even if you lose the round, you almost guarantee the bomb going down in that situation. That's why a lot of teams do favour going towards that inside area. It means you can kind of stifle any CTs there, push them back. You'll see a lot of aggression coming into the terrorists. That's what I expect coming into this one. G2 just want to try and get a bomb down and try and get that early pushes down. They've got some very good aimers on the team. Obviously, Scream, Shoxy, RPK guys that really can get in your faces and be annoying. So we'll see whether they go for that one. Looks like the pistol will be getting underway very shortly. I'll be interested to see what Luminosity brings to the table. We'll see some teams maybe push towards Ivy at the start of the round just to get that bit of intel to start, whether they can start early rotations towards the inside side as well.
Yep.
And I'd expect Luminosity to do it, especially this game. That's what makes a top team. Someone can make those calls. Someone like Fallen has a great Counter-Strike mind in the sense where he knows when it's a good time to go for aggression and find the initial picks when you're kind of locking a terrorist side down. That's what we'll see from him. Very good understanding of the game in general. And here, the calls coming in. Luminosity, obviously a very passionate team.
And when they sit back down, FNX is going to rejoin the server. Because he lagged out before they did that. We can see he's already actually back in. But yeah, there we go. Motivation from the Brazilians. This is one of the debates that I had. Where, with a team like Luminosity, who's put so much in over the last 18 months. In fact, it was only 14 months from the time that they bursted onto the scene at X Games as Team Kaboom, of which they only have 2 remaining players from that original roster, by the way. Obviously, Fur and Fallen. At the time, Bolts, Steel, and ZQK were the other members. They've all gone elsewhere, and Bolts on Tempo Storm. But they put so much work in and so much effort in changing the roster and modifying things and constantly demoing, constantly practicing. I thought there might be a period after that major where they kind of relapsed a little bit. You know what I mean? They kind of got away from that form, that aggression, that motivation. And Malmo, I thought, when they lost that, I thought, oh, this is it. This is going to happen. But as they said on the desk, and as we've seen in other leagues, they've been so consistent in their performances. In fact, better lately than ever in some people's eyes.
So we are into the pistol. Luminosity versus G2. As I said, I favour a bit inside taker. They have one smoke for the lower ramp and a flashbang to get them in as well. So that's what I'm expecting going forward here. Looks like 5 players are committed to it. The problem is, though, coldzera aggressive, looking for that first pick here with the USP. He is favoured. Going to get the first headshot, and he takes that RPK. That's going to be the signal now for the terrorists to bundle into the bomb sites, but rotations incoming in very quickly now as well.
This should lend itself well to putting a bomb down, because inside that B site, it's not hard to do so once you get to that position. But Taco, finding the kills early on, is going to deny the crossover, which means they haven't got it to the default position. And not only that, they've got a flank coming in from Fur and FNX. A complete slaughter as LG own the map, including a very fast flank rotation.
Yeah, the problem is there, as soon as coldzera gets that vision, he hits the first shot as well. That's the deciding factor. Had he not got a kill, GT probably set out a very strong chance of winning the round. He slows him down, makes him a little bit apprehensive, and they come into the bomb site and just get absolutely taken down. No bomb plant either, means they're going to have struggle going to the third. They ought to be force buying into this one. So Desert Eagles, 4 of them in fact, and then Smith's being a little bit more conservative. He's got the Tech 9 no armor, so he's going for that AWP on the first gun round here, but a bomb plant required for G2. They have got 1 flashbang to play with, that's it. So these Deagles need to come out with trumps. They need to find an opening kill here somewhere. And looking at the pistol, the buy from Luminosity, they have a couple of SMGs and a FAMAS and a Scout, so there should be some openings here. But Scream going down to 30 HP to kick things off.
Fur's going to jump in with this MP9 and try and find Smiths as well. He's the only one inside A main. RPK, they were trying to go for a 3-pronged approach onto this A site. Gets caught at ladder because they've got Chunks and Body out toward the Ivy position. Scream was just waiting for the call to see if he could get the bomb in, but if bomb plant was the ideal scenario in this, it's looking less and less likely. Good shot from Shox down Ivy. That'll start things in the other direction to get toward that goal. They've actually bought a little bit of space on that as well, because they pull Fur back, and as this happens, Scream's able to walk in a little bit closer toward the bomb site. A second shot following that up means they still have to be more passive, LG, so they may just get a bomb out of this yet. Not only that, they're going to pick up an SMG out toward that Ivy position that they can try and utilize. Scream's on top of that bomb train, though, and the other 2 still haven't moved over, and Scream's going to get caught out right now. Bomb down. Huge problem, because that should have been the entire goal of this round.
That's pretty much a round over at this stage. We have got Shoxy and Body, picked up an MP9, but once that bomb's down, and you can see the CTs reacting now, Taco and Fallen sticking together, making sure they're refragging effectively. I'm not sure how the bomb does get planted in this scenario. And
Shox also walked right by a UMP, the first SMG that dropped it long. Didn't even elect to pick it up, even though it was easy to do so.
Oh,
nice shot, though, from Body. But FNX will close that out as well. It does go down to a 2-man remaining situation for LG, which does force a few rebuys, but Again, Scream didn't need to overface on that. He could have waited a little bit longer for his two teammates to get in position and try and get a plant.
I agree. When the objective is just to plant at that stage, at least use your teammates to actually get some aggro taken away from you. You're not just there by yourself. He had no real vision towards Connected, didn't know what was coming from Pop Dog. He needed to wait a little bit longer there. There's no real reason to die and lose the bomb in no man's land, but it will be a full eco now from G2. Got a Deagle and a PT-50, that's about it. No nades once again. You see this aggression from Cold Zero with the Famous towards Ivy. Hasn't spotted anything yet, but it's going to be slowing the terror down. Sirabi gets spot one through. That's going to be body going down. And decent nade damage towards Shoxy as well. Taking down towards 56. So at this point, once you've seen two players towards Ivy, you can almost certainly ascertain that we'll be committing towards the outside side. But look at this. Pushing towards the T-steps as well. This is very aggressive from the CTs. Want to farm some cash here with those SMGs they've got. One kill comes in. Make it a double. Taco clearing up.
Yeah, a little bit more efficient this time around. Guns will come out next round regardless, but again, envision the fact that G2 had to get a bomb plant on round 2 and think about how much better that buy would be. It would put them, as I press a button, it takes me to the desktop, wanting to look at the money. I think AWP range plus decent utility.
They've got 5,300 on Smith, so you can definitely get an AWP. As I said, he normally favors towards the Pop Dog area. That's where he's trying to get the first pick. They'll go into a full default, wait for the aggression from the CTs, and it's down to Smith. So he's gone glass cannon right now.
That's the difference. You put that bomb down, he potentially can go ahead and get armor out, because with that glass cannon, he's got $100 left, but that's because he buys nades. He could have easily had armor in this situation.
Well, that suggests they might be going for some sort of set piece here. If he's instrumental towards that set piece working out with his smoke, we'll see what goes on here. FNX making his way in towards that Pop Dog room. And this is the heavy default coming in from G2. They just want to see whether there's any aggro from the CTs whatsoever. A lot of teams will do that on the first gun round to kind of lock down and kind of go aggressive with some saved SMGs or a Famous, for example. But it's going to be a very slow round here from both sides. No one committing just yet. We have got 3 of the G2 players towards Ivy, so they'll be trying to work a pick there, presumably. I would assume that Smith will be there. There he is on those dumpsters looking at that first pick, but it's going to be falling on the AWP.
And he's actually inside of that position. He doesn't even need to cross over it. He's at hell right now. It's Cold Zero that's waiting for them to push through.
He's trying to bait out a shot right now. Smoking off towards the left side, boosting up on the service, seeing if anyone will face.
They do give a lot of space up at the front of the site right now, because with FNX up in control room, he can peek out, but they're trying to leave it so Fallen and Cold can play off of each other based on that call. Fallen, instead of facing this with the AWP, knowing that he's basically soloing inside of that smoke, is going to give it up entirely and let Cold wait for that to fade and try and come back into it. Good shot from Cold to start it off, but they had the chance to wrap onto Hell right now from G2, and they haven't done it, so Fallen's actually going to be gifted a huge opportunity. Important pick on FNX though, but Cold Zero, second smoke in front of him. This slows things down even more, and Fallen has to get Taco in position. Good kill on his Smiths. He's still alive on this bomb site, and they're being overly passive, overly slow about getting toward the bomb site in this situation. G2, because they had the map control to work with. Cold Zero, only one more for Falls. Still though, it's just down to RPK.
Yeah, we said it was going to be a problem. It's a Fallen AWP, he gets 3 frags. It's Cold Zero that opens things up now, and just to touch quickly, he picks up a secondary AWP. That's a double AWP setup we talked about. It's Cold Zero. GT smoked off towards the left-hand side, and there's so tunnel vision towards the right. Fallen, Molotovs through, that kind of locks them in. He sprays through the smoke, finds the first kill, falls back a little bit. He's taking a lot of the aggression away from the terrorists at that point, and Fallen is just a turret on the bomb site. Looking left, looking right, hitting shots left all over the place, and now it's going to be Luminosity with a firm lead here, 4-0. And G2 can't really afford much more than some upgraded pistols. This is body armor on Body and Shoxy. So there's the first kill. The double AWP setup coming to fruition. Cold Zero gets the first, Fur the second. This round's over. It's going to be 5-0 in favour of Luminosity. And this is the momentum we discussed. The Scream does find something out of this.
Yeah, well, something to start with, but 4-0 for Luminosity. Fallen, realizing there's an enemy at the gate, will fall back down into the rabbit hole and basically just sit tight. If it was a Glock, I can't expect from that range it would have done much, but no need to give up the AWP, and he now switches to the pistol and takes down Smiths regardless, but 2 kills. Double ops need to stay up, that's a problem. Shock's getting that now is a huge issue in the economy. Taco has to get close enough that when they close this, if they close this, they can easily re-grab that, and he'll be close enough, he looks at it, desperately thinks about it, Shocks, and there you go. It's going to be picked up and saved by Taco.
Yeah, pretty easy round for Luminosity. You lose a few players there, but ultimately doesn't matter too much. I'm going to rebuy another AWP, but this is the round I predict Luminosity to go aggressive, Matt. They're probably waiting for some sort of adjustment from G2 here, maybe a set piece, and the double AWP setup, that's kind of perfect for them. I'd be calling right now, let's try and get the rifles to be pushing towards Ivy, maybe an aggressive AWP pick. That will be textbook right now for Luminosity if they were to bring that towards the table. But Shoxy and Smiths now on the AWPs, that's the 2 players we expect. Here we go, Fallen, smoking out towards Ivy. Will he be doing anything with this? Okay, well, the first pick comes in from Fur. He's just on top of green, takes down the first player towards the main entrance. That's Smith's dropped, and that's one of the main AWPers as well. So he's pivotal for them to work the picks, and they go straight down to a 5-on-4.
Scream falls away slightly. I mean, yeah, this is a huge problem. So Shock's going to go to the AWP now instead. RPK very passive at Ivy. They're expecting aggression, and this is G2 inside of their own heads right now. They're giving up so much time and not getting any map control. They're already down to a minute and really have nothing to work with.
You know
and Cold at the corner inside of B right now is completely limiting half the map.
They've got a 5-on-4. They've got Cold completely locking down the inside area. They can commit 4 players towards outside. This is just perfect, but that throws a spanner in the works. Shoxy finds a kill on towards Fallen. Potentially didn't have to face that angle, could have waited for them to come out, but he wanted the kill. Level swings out of 4-on-4 here. And now G2 with the next move. They'll be making their way up towards Ivy, but Taco is waiting for them. Look at that first pick. Spots us an AWP now, can start using his utility.
Chunk's just going to wait. That AWP. RPK, better position, a little more forward. Good pickup from Furtho onto Body. That's ladder down and better timing from FNX as he hears RPK coming through late. So they're not clearing off a lot of these corners, these issues, these angles, and LG playing very passively is able to lure them into traps, basically. I mean, this is almost, in some ways, I know this is, and we'll get back to this as Fur closes it out, it's almost the Tyloo Liquid situation on Cobblestone. I'm sure it's not by design. Of course, we saw, me and you in first person in Korea this week, that there is a way to beat that, but it's definitely a very, very struggling and passive approach that G2 can't find opening picks against.
I feel like when you take down a huge scope like Fallen towards the Ivy, that's when you should be capitalizing. You should be having decent mid-round calls at that point and trying to get some kind of real estate on the map. They get that first pick and they're slowing things right down at that point. Need to be getting out there, get some control of the map, push the CDs back even further and have control of Ivy. They didn't really do much of that. They allowed the repositions coming from Taco. He found a kill, slowed them down even more. And here we go, straight towards the outside side. It's going to be FNX picking up the first kill once again. Make it 2 as Body drops as well. And it's going to be a 5-on-3. Cold Zero reacts. He pushed towards inside. This is just a bloodbath now. And Fallen finding another easy shot there towards Shoxy. This was a force buy from G2. They do get one out of this. RPK gets a double, so it makes things interesting.
But they're gone again. And out of these 7 rounds, not a single bomb plant. Not a single bomb plant for G2. So we talk about the lost round bonus. They'll be able to be in a position again where they could force. They're going to go to Tech 9s instead. But if they got bomb plants down, it would be a significantly better situation on money alone, if not giving them finally a chance to win something out of this.
They'll probably, well, I was going to say, they'll probably get smokes here and probably just go for the bomb plant. This should presumably be towards inside, considering the buy. Let's see where they go with this one.
It's not, it's all Ivy.
Okay, well, interesting, and seeing they've been getting wrecked there.
That was the other thing I was just about to say. Since the pistol, we haven't seen them go toward really the inner bomb site at all. And this is fallen, quick shoulder peek. He's going to fall away from it. Good flash, though. He may get caught out. Goes over toward Hitch instead of Hell. That'll keep him a little bit more space to negotiate exactly how he wants to take these battles and let Fur try and get a better angle. Instead, though, Fallen closes it. Fallen will eventually go down to Smiths. Better kill from Body, though. But as soon as they get any opening at all, look at the trades from LG. It's better still. The rotations are on time. And Scream now the last alive.
Yeah, very effective stuff then, Luminosity. It's going to be a 3-on-1. Scream doesn't really have much to work with. Bomb down in a horrible position for him. He needs to find a cheeky kill with that Deagle to have any chance here. Just lurking his way around. There is a smoke, but CT's not going to give anything away here. There's waiting for him to make the next move. He's desperately just trying to find some sort of opening here, but I just don't see it happening. Once again, G2 do get a couple of kills, but the reaction comes from Luminosity. They're really quite well. As soon as they lose a frag, they're pushing towards inside. They're coming out of connector. They're facing. They're making sure they're trading effectively there. And it's working very well for them indeed. It's going to be 8-0 here. This is a best of 1, and FNX gets the final kill on towards Scream. As you said, lost bonus is a maximum now, $3,400 coming in each time. They did take a partial buy in the last, so this will be a nice, healthy investment into round number 9. Single AWP this time on towards Smiths, but they have got the utility to work with. So I'd like to see something a little more strategic instead of working the picks. Let's go to a set piece here. Let's do the default. Let's see if the aggression coming into the CTs. Let's try and get a bomb down. Let's get a clutch situation on the go. Let's kind of have something to work with instead of relying on our mid-round calls, which frankly haven't been fantastic.
No, not at all. So Smith's again in the AWP this time. Cold Zero Fallen still with theirs in hand quite easily at that. Cold, in fact, with $12,000. A lot of money on that LG side. Furs had to buy up a few more times. He's died the most at 5. That's it.
Finally, they've actually pushed Cold Zero back on the upper platforms inside. They've smoked off and Molotoved him out, so he has to fall back. So at least they wanted to go to a set piece, some sort of inside execution. That's now an option. They know they've got control of that area. So something gained, at least at the early stages of this round number 9. I'm going to be going into that default, as we said. CT's is holding a more passive mentality. Actually,
RPK.
3 people towards the inside side, so they're kind of adjusting their setup. They're kind of feeling this is where GT may show their hand this time.
I really hope that Body gets a kill this round, so that Van Silly could be very happy with the score, where it'll be 5-4-3-2-1.
Is that a thing he likes?
Yeah, he likes the Care Bears.
The Care Bears?
The Care Bear countdown.
Okay.
It's just he always mentions it when he casts.
Okay,
So
fair
I know
enough.
he'll be grinning ear to ear about that if it happens.
And if he's watching.
He's definitely watching.
Okay.
If he's not watching, he's still watching. But again, this is a very passive setup from LG. They've got 3 in the inner bomb site, which is a bit peculiar because there hasn't been a lot of activity there. Perhaps anticipating the change. Body's going to try and lurk down Ivy late, but RPK is already going to finally be in a position to put this bomb down. He's still hesitant because they don't have anyone to cover him off where FNX is playing, and he could walk out from Hitch and still try. He won't to deny this given that situation, but they get away with it. And it is finally a bomb plant. The first in the entire half, the first in the entire game for G2. As it sits at 8-0 for Luminosity. Better still, RPK is going to fight forward, take down FNX. And it's Smiths to finally win the op duel against Fall in the retake. Slowly crumbling, but again, lots of money on the LG side. They can afford to go for this, and they've already got Cold in a decent position out toward Ivy. He's playing that third alley. Once Taco finds 1 kill and distracts, he and Fur can start to attack the site, take down Body at Heaven, and they've got a real chance to hold this off. 3 versus 3.
Bomb, just too far right now, I think. I think this is out.
I was going to say Kit's on all 3, so they've got a little bit of time, but you're dead right.
Well, there we go. It's G2 that decided to go towards the outside side, did that default, and had a few little key smokes coming down. The bomb planted, that's key. Like you said, it's the first time we've seen it in this half. Luminosity adjusted their setup. They were kind of trying to read the game, preempt what was coming in. 3 players towards inside. I think that's a decent call from them, obviously wrecking them outside completely. But let's send 3 towards inside this time. They're probably going to change up that strategy against us, but still, Luminosity played quite a disciplined game. They didn't force the situation, waited for the teammates to rotate in, see if it was possible, kept 3 alive and kept the money strong. That's a key factor here. G2 need to be careful. A definite chance of a full reset as we go into round number 10. We'll be sending 2 players towards that inside area once more, but it's going to be Fall and challenging. Same Molotov will make him fall back at this stage. And it seems like that's what G2 have realised. That's what they need to do. They need to have control of this area first. Take that vision away from the CTs. They can't have a player like Cold Zero just watching that the entire time and allowing 4 CTs to be outside.
And I don't mind using a Molotov in that situation. A lot of
That's
people,
fine.
we often talk about using them for execution, how they're very good for getting into sites. But what we don't mention is map control and using utility just for that alone. So that's a very good Molotov to, like you say, finally clear that position. They can finally try to use the halls and get something creative going.
Yeah.
And at the very least, it takes a lot of information away from LG as well. So
Exactly. That's the name of the game here. But it's going to be Shoxy picking up the first frag. Now they are really rolling. Going to be taking FNX, but it's going to be reaction coming from Fur. He answers back towards Scream, but in difficult position. Molotov out, and Smith gets the kill. 4 on 3 in favour of the French side.
Zira, chance for the shot down toward Ladder. Does tag up Shoxy on the jump, but he stays alive, and that's enough to take down Taco with the AK. Could be successive rounds here for G2, and that's massive considering the reset potential that does exist. Importantly, Smiths wins yet another duel as well to keep the AWP alive, and believe it or not, they'll be able to buy again this round with Forces thanks to Cold Zero's cash, but the rest of them are not in a perfect world right now in terms of money on this Luminosity side. And therefore, yes, they'll fight against guns again. They have a chance to break them here, G2, finally.
So Cold Zero probably going an AWP, so with Fallen, he can drop an M4 as well. Probably be 1 player maybe on a shotgun or a FAMAS, but
Yep,
yeah,
there you
there's
go.
the shotgun. And they should have a good, decent chance going into this one. We'll see what they bring to the table, maybe something a little bit more aggressive. But like I said, G2 have finally learned what the problem was in their default setup. They were allowing way too much control towards that inside side, allowing Luminosity to have 4 players outside. Once they've done that, pushing the CTs back, that's just Counter-Strike 101. You want to take vision away and then go into your next move here. Taco going aggressive towards the lower ramp with the Mag 7 can be absolutely amazing in this sort of position. Let's see what he can do here. RPK goes on the face, doesn't land the headshot. Does a bit of damage. Tickles him a bit there. But you want the 1 bullet headshot in that position. Now they know there's a Mag 7 towards inside. That's probably a favourable area for terrorists to go.
Now FNX is going to hold the angle, sees the Molotov come in, knows there's clearly someone opposing him toward T-spawn at the very least, and it's Scream that is doing so, but he just needs to hold that. Again, he just needs to get overcommitted here. It's an angle that's aggressive, limits how much map control they have on G2's side. They'll have to be a face and a contact style play. But instead, Bomb's going to group toward the tunnels. Again, that corner cleared out, which means Taco and Fur are inside of the site, and RPK and Shox can start to gain some ground. That Scream's going to join them with the bomb.
Yeah, like I said, they know the Mag 7's in this area now, so a full execution is making sure they clear out the close range angles. Should be very viable going forward. But the problem is they have rotated the M4, and so Taco will be waiting for them.
Smartly as well, Body's walked the entire way through these halls. If he even ran up the stairways quickly, they were far enough forward that FNX would have heard it and made the call that they're going to the inner site. And as they go, they still have good positioning. They'll run back into that Molotov, and Smiths is going to catch Fur. It's almost style of Summit as he falls between the trains, but Smiths fires yet another shot, needs to grab the bomb and get it over, as they are still a man down. Good situation for them to be in LG. Not only that, because Body's not inside the site, and he has to face completely open at the bottom of the ramp. Smiths stuck in top of the site. Good shot to fight forward, but he's still in the open and can't get away. Fallen's going to find him. And Luminosity, as they were facing reset, finally will pick up the round.
Yeah, decent work there from Luminosity. As I said, that shotgun does give G2 a lot of potential to make that inside side possible, but the problem is Taco did find the first kill, and they spotted the bomb as well. A lot of delay for the G2 side before they got it down. Smith's left in that 3-on-1. Couldn't really do too much. It still is a favourable angle for him. He found the first kill. Had he got the second, could have been interesting, but unfortunately for him, didn't work out. We're going to round number 12. It is 9-2 now. Smith's back on the AWP, of course. And we're back to the double AWP set up for Luminosity, so their money's in a little bit of a healthier situation. We'll see whether LG mix things up. So this is the aggression I'm talking about with Ivy. The CT looking up there, flashing in, trying to get that first pick. And it's going to be Ferg going to face it. But G2 are ready for this. Body by himself, needs to be a little bit careful, but that smoke should save him at this point. Coldzera just seeing if anyone pushes through. And it's looking like G2 setting themselves up for the set piece here by Smiths.
Good response. Yeah, that's a great response on Fallen, who's getting a little bit curious and commits to the peak toward A main, and Smith's already holding the angle. Good flick shot downward. But it's not that far straightforward because they have lost Scream. There's a one-man advantage, though, for the T side. And again, LG, they're not getting away with that same sort of aggressive stance over toward B that they were. So as we can see, they don't even need a player toward Ivy this time, G2. They're going to just work the hallways again and just try and keep this defense very thinned out, spread out across the map. Force Taco to have to stay in that B site simply because he has no idea what else is going on.
The cities have 2 incendiaries remaining, so this could be very impactful, but it's going to be RPK going for this first pick. Could be Taco waiting for him, though. Gives his position away with the spray, and now he should be going down. Surely, there it is.
Very well done.
That's, textbook stuff from Shoxy there, coming in, reacting with his teammates, and now as it's a 4-on-2 with the double AWPs up for LG, you would assume they'll be saving them, but of course they fancy it, and Coldzera does get punished. It's RPK to get a lovely little headshot there and leave FNX in pretty much impossible situation.
Yeah, really good. And as much as Shox followed that up, RPK did very well to check every single angle on the way through to get the information.
Yeah.
So FNX going to save this AWP. They didn't do it last round. They will this time. LG's got very little money left in the bank. It's $300 on FNX right now, who stays alive potentially in this. They are chasing. Shox should actually get close enough. Good shot from FNX to catch him.
Well, he's going to be pincered in now as well. You can see a player towards T-spawn. That'll be Body. Not going too aggressive here. Just wants to see if he does exit, hold a tight angle towards that dumpster. And go on.
Well, I was just going to say, to paint the picture even further, we talked about how there was no bomb plants at all for the first 8 rounds out of this. The last 3 there has been. And the last 4 there now has been, and 3 of them have gone to G2. It's just that simple.
They just worked out what was going wrong. They didn't need a timeout to do it. They just actually kind of sat down and said, okay, where are we losing map control here? We're not taking inside whatsoever. The CTs have full control of every part of the map, it seems. Now it's time to push it back, and then Smiths, like I said, actually very good on train. He's one of the players, like we always talk about him on Dust 2, and train he can be pretty influential as well. He finds those first 2 picks towards the main entrance, taking out Fallen as well. And we'll see what kind of buy coming in for Luminosity. I think the money was broken, but Fallen has got a scout. Not a full investment here. You can see have some upgraded pistols and RPK straight in there like a bulldozer. Takes down FNX. And they're going to get the double kill here as well. So this should be almost guaranteed now for G2. The Scream does find the kill on towards Fur. Bomb will be planted, and now Taco and Coldzera just with those PT-50s and Deagles. Can't really do too much here. So G2 after a really difficult start, was it 8-0 at one point?
Yeah.
So you're getting
it was 8-0.
to a more realistic situation for them in terms of winning the game.
And this is why, as well, when you looked at that 7-0 scoreline when they were in a position to force again, they went for the Tech 9s that round. It's kind of early in the half still where they can still stay calm. You know, they know they can break this. They can bring it in slowly on this terrorist side. A lot of teams might overcommit to the forcing there and actually wreck themselves for 2 rounds after, whereas it was the round immediately after that, on the 9th round, that they picked up their first because they had a much stronger buy than they otherwise would have. So it was a smart decision. It was a disciplined decision in a lot of ways, but it's thinking the long game, you know, not panicking too much because you're down 7-0 on the scoreboard, knowing that all you need is a few plants, a few rounds in a row, and you can easily bring the half back to something respectable, which is exactly what we're seeing now. Yeah, and we can see the money's still not great for Luminosity here. They're actually going to be force buying, which is interesting. They potentially could cost themselves 2 rounds here. Like, they could have had a really decent buy going to number 15, but they've decided to force this time. They're going to have Max 7 Scouts, Famises, MP9s. But very good with that weapon, but still on train, I don't think it's the most favorable by far. And let's see what kind of setup they can bring to the table here. Taco with the M4. He'll be towards inside by himself. And one player going towards Pop Dog. That's going to be FNX with that shotgun. Gets the first gun onto Scream. Gets a double as well. Looking for the triple. Doesn't happen. RPK finally gets him, but still, that's done a lot of damage going forward here. Yeah, now it's the scout, though, for Fallen inside of the site. Even tags would be sufficient in this situation because he has got an MP9, which would very quickly mow them down if they got closer. That's in the hands of Fur, but better still, it is going to be 2 headshots from Fallen, and Body drops last. It's 10 rounds now for LG. Still a buy on this terrorist side, but that's a saving grace for LG because they were in a very desperate situation if not for winning that.
Yeah, it's a very ballsy move from them, go to that buy, and it's FNX stepping up, getting aggressive towards a public area, finds 2 kills and Fallen. That's the kind of stuff we expect from him, very crisp headshots there. Finish the round off, Luminosity hit double digits here, it's 10-4, round number 15. Still tons of cash for G2, a double orb set up once again. That's Fallen staying on the scouts. You can't really argue with that the last round, but let's see what he brings to the table.
FNX is going to get a little bit more forward in his stance on this A site this time. Fallen once more is going to be playing on top of Green, sharing back toward Hell. Cold, as always, not facing. They haven't really faced that Ivy position too much, to be fair. Aside from round 2 when the deagle shots came in from Shoxy. Cold's just been very, very passive. He's been allowing them to walk up the hallway, and then they've been playing off of that, he and Fallen together. But with FNX getting the bottom of the ladder, Fallen's going to change his position inside of the bomb train, and that leaves Cold to watch all of the quad position as well as Ivy. So that's a large task for him to achieve right now. Well, thankfully, they brought Fur over a little bit closer.
G2 haven't expended a single smoke here yet, so just going to be slowing things right down, seeing what kind of route they can get on the map. As you said, FNX just aggressive to that top goal, looking for any sort of aggro coming in from Body, who's above him right now. And RPK and Shocky towards Ivy, waiting for someone to face at the stage, but just biding their time. Scream at the bottom of main entrance. They're going to start making the next move here, time ticking away.
Cold's ready for this crossfire. This is what we talked about. He's going to give them that Ivy position, and he and Fur are going to play this off of each other together. FNX goes down in ladder, though. That means Fallen has to get more passive. He has to backpedal inside of the site, and crucially, they've also lost that Hell position, which means Fallen's completely overwhelmed. Goes for the jump scout. Surely he's going to get down in this situation. Overface, though. What a shot! As Taco saves RPK, or rather, excuse me, Fallen by getting RPK, and that keeps him alive to get Scream. That's so crucial. Just that 1 kill made such a difference as it accounted for 2 going the way of Luminosity instead. Body may find 1 back, but Fallen's still alive. He's still on top of this train. Finally, Shox gets him down. It's into a one-on-one. Smoke out bomb easily recovered. Thankfully, the timing is there for Shox, but he's going to face this with the AWP. He's got to because no time left on the clock, and it goes 11-4.
Taco falling back, but there was still time to plant for sure. But Shoxy was so scared of the potential of the CT running out and stopping it. Went all in, fake plants, and how did Fallen stay alive for so long in that situation? Just dancing around fire, 10 HP, Terror is coming from all sides, and that was our last call I got excited about. Terror was just looking at him, didn't seem to land a single bullet.
Get ready for halftime, too.
I think we're not going to a break.
I was waiting for that.
That's
call.
what that's
what we had in the rundown, Henry.
Well, it looks like we're getting straight into it. So no breaks here. It is 11-4, and Luminosity has some miracle rounds there towards the latter stage of that first half. But let's see what the Bristol brings to us. GT now on the CT side. We can see. Oh, this is interesting. So we've got 4 sets of armor from Luminosity. They have got that Molotov though. That's for the post-plant situation, man. So that's going to assume inside plant will come down, and they saved that Molotov. Oh, that headshot though. Body goes down to 1 HP to kick things off. And that's the finish of the point.
Okay.
Actually, you should go.
All right, Body. You might have 1 HP, but you have 2 kills as they force him back, and Fur eventually will put him down. But damage done. He got that information. I was going to say that might be enough to cause rotations, but better still from Body.
You think most people would fall back to the side when you get into 1 HP? He's like, no, what? I'm going to get 2 kills here. Don't worry about it.
That was sick. That was absolutely wild.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a boring point there before that happened. I didn't think that would be coming in. Anyway, 4-on-3 now. Fur with some decent position outside. It's spotted by Scream though. Scream missing out on the kill.
That's a big miss for Scream.
Hasn't had a great game so far, actually. I think he's currently on 5-14.
Yeah, that's one where it's just a little bit too much pressure. Shox, though, doing exactly what Body did. Gets the headshot onto Fallen. RPK is going to follow it up, and now it's just onto Cold Zera. So they have taken down Fallen in that outer sight. Cold on 21-6. That's a crater. Gets hit in the air. It was too late. He'd already committed. Mistakes were made.
They were. Not too detrimental in this game.
Pretty impressive round, I have to say, from Body to get that started in that fashion. The 1 HP, and he pulls that off.
That's I was assuming he was going to fall back. That's why I started talking about the Molotov. But he stepped up massively, gets 2 headshots, and it's just down to him. This is an interesting buy, though, from G2. 4 MP9s and a FAMAS. They're almost certain. The bomb they implied for Luminosity, they're only going to force buys. This is kind of nuts buy, I would say. But let's see what they can do with it. MP9 is definitely a gun that's becoming more and more viable in today's meta. But Tech 9's I'm not so sure, but what do I know? RPK makes it work. Double kill from him.
Never doubt the sewing machine, Henry.
Yeah.
It will fix everything.
Absolutely.
Including your denim. As Fallen gets the shot back into Smiths. I have to say, it's just the firing rate of the MP9. If you can get in a reasonable range and just be able to run and gun with it, it's actually quite fun,
Of course.
I have to say.
But
It's
like,
trolly, but fun.
against the Tech 9s, if say Luminosity got towards inside for a smoke,
that's the
like
thing.
it's that retake's almost impossible at that stage, right? But oh my god, the
It's,
range.
it's not even the Tech 9s alone that's scary, it's Tech 9s with armor against
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So right now, Fur doesn't, like, MP9 versus Fur, I would actually say that that's not too bad of a situation, but if he had armor, then I would say, all right, the Tech 9's scary. That's scary, though. Fur hitting a lovely shot, brings them back down to 2 versus 2. Bomb's going to be dropped, thankfully falls off the train, but Scream closes it with kills regardless before they can even re-grab it.
They did get 4 kills there. It'd be interesting to see where Luminosity go with this one. After getting so many, they know the C team economy is pretty low still. Most teams will eco in this situation in the 3rd round.
I know what you want. Oh, that's
There it
not
is.
what you wanted.
I told you. Because well, it kind of makes sense, right? Every kill you're getting with those pistols, you're getting $300 in, and you know the CTs, they've gone with 4 MP9s again. This still could be very interesting. Same situation again. Tech 9s have head armor with utility. This could go somewhere for Luminosity, you know? I don't mind this too much, man. It's a CT side of normally
The hard part about this for G2 is where you invest into SMGs twice. Normally, if you bring up a rifle, that's fine, because you can just save that moving forward. But where they go to these SMGs twice, if they lose them twice, they're still not going to be able to afford rifles by the time Luminosity can buy.
Yeah.
So they need to be efficient with this round. Even if it goes down to another 2-man situation, there's still going to be a little bit scrapped for cash when it comes to the gun rounds. Good play from RPK, though, pushing through the smoke, finds 1 kill quickly. Remember last time he picked up 2, but there you go. There's the Tech 9 situation, manages a kill. And this time they do have armor, so they need to be extremely weary of the potential that those guns do have. Good shot from Body. As he finds, well, never mind, it's actually Shocks instead, but I was going to say a 2nd kill, that's all that matters, because it's one less man on Luminosity's side.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's worked out too well here, but I'll go into more detail why that makes sense after this last kill comes in, just in case this gets exciting. As soon as I start rambling, that's when things start to kick off normally, but it's going to be Fallen alone towards that upper platform, has not got control of the bomb, that's on the site. He's got a Molotov and a Tech 9 to work with. Let's see whether they can do anything with this. Spamming him with shots. At this point, the round is over. It's G2's to lose. Tagging him up. You can see that's the range of the MP9 coming in. Doesn't really do too much against armor players at that sort of distance. Fallen is making this a little bit uncomfortable. 3 CTs are relatively low, but slowly but surely he's being tagged down. That should be it now. There it is, the final kill coming in for RPK. So then, like I was saying, it does kind of make sense to the degree that G2, like you said, they're anticipating against a full eco there. They wanted to go up against Glocks, no armor, farm some more cash with his MP9s. And that's what Fallen think. He said, well, we could actually surprise them a little bit here. They probably won't be feeling this coming in whatsoever. They might go a bit too aggressive, and we've got Tech 9s and armor to challenge those SMGs. So obviously they didn't win the round, but still, I think it was viable. And now the loss bonus racking up, but G2 have been given a window back into this game. It's going to be round number 19. Tech 9s, PD50s, no armor invested, but a couple of flashbangs. Let's see if Luminosity can get a plant down here. Once again, they have not planted at all here, so the money situation is not perfect, but loss bonus accumulating.
Shot from Scream. Fallen response, but Shocks again is going to get the kill into him. More importantly, Scream now going to take down FNX. And Tech 9's once more not able to achieve much in this situation. It's going to go to 11-8. Bit of a game on our hands now that we get to this situation, but we will, based on these force buys, would have said we would have gun round now, but we will definitely in the next round. No bomb plant out of this just yet, but Taco manages 1 more kill. Still alive awkwardly in that situation. Thankfully, Body's come over to save his teammate in Scream. He continues to struggle to land shots, but his team's getting a lot closer in this situation. AWP immediately onto Fallen, but Glass Cannon. He does have, okay, he did buy late. There we go.
A little bit of body
I was
armor.
gonna say he's got money for it.
Where it gets interesting. G2 on the favoured side now, 11-8. They definitely have got back into this game. Round number 20. We'll see what Luminosity bring to the table. I'd assume it's just going to be working around Fallen's AWP, see if we can find their ult pick. We're going towards, actually watching Ivy at the start, seeing if anyone's going to be pushing here. RPK does like to push that position. We'll be holding defensively this time though, so going to be smoking it out for now. This is quite an aggressive hold here from the CTs. They're playing right up towards the main entrance, and it's going to be Scream flashing in. Like I said, had a quiet game so far, but looking for this first kill. Doesn't spot anything, but gains decent intel here and smokes out the terrorist. So he knows no one can come to this area now. Considerable amount of time, so just going to be patrolling that. Funneling the terrorist almost towards the inside site, as he has full control.
Full control, my friend.
Yeah, you can see it happening now. They're adjusting. Good position from Scream as well.
Yeah, very good position from Scream, actually. But how does LG go about this? Shocks is going to have heard them at this point. Body's waiting on top of the bomb train. It's a tough position to scurry from. If Shocks can't shut them down when they cross into the site, it's not an easy run from Body, especially if they put someone at upper right now. He's caught between the 2 trains.
Well, the idea is Shoxy just needs to stay hidden. Body gets all the aggro for him, then he come out for the big spray down with the silence then 4. Let's see what he can do with falling now towards that low ramps. It's out for now, but still has position to do something with this. 35 seconds remains. Terrorists need to make their next move, and presumably the last as well, as it looks like they will be adjusting towards outside. Still have a ton of utility. 4 smokes available.
RPK. That Hell's going to soon find out there's not much activity his way. There will be eventually as FNX comes through, but it's mostly going to be onto Scream, who's not staring over top of the smoke at this point in time. They're going to come out from Pop Dog, go for a default on the back side of that, quick plant down, and Luminosity with 5 players still up has a good post plant, but no forward stance, which does mean G2 can get very close to the situation. Still to find kills though, still to make contact, and they're doing so successfully. Good trade, Shox brings it back 3 versus 3. And Kit's on all 3 remaining players. Fallen knows one's coming. Good shot as he gets down the ladder. Good awareness. Takes down Shoxy. He can now play a longer position, but RPK snuck up the smoke. Cold's there to trade it on top of the train. They know his position, but Body can't find the angle, and Cold could actually fade away from this and go down because they still have Fallen with the AWP to watch this entire play.
Cold doesn't have to die here. It's nuts that he is, but round secured anyway. Body does get away with his life, but it's Luminosity picking up the round. Very last-minute decision there. They had 10 seconds when they finally executed. Some simple smokes going down, sticking together, and there's a decent planting sort of smoke on towards the bomb side and towards the back. CT's couldn't stop it going down, and then very difficult side to retake at that point. Once the bomb's down, then terrorists are set up and have big manpower. Very tricky to get back into the side. But the fact it came down to 1 versus 1 in the end was still beneficial for G2, just grinding down the terrorist economy. There it is, the first round for Luminosity here on the second half. It's 4-1. Need to be careful here though. Don't have the best buy going into this one, Luminosity, after losing so many players. Scream now on towards that mag 7. He'll be towards outside. But a double orb setup now for the French squad. They've got Shoxy and Smiths, of course. Let's see what they can do with this.
Scream. It's not the closest angle with the shotgun we've ever seen. We like to see it more ladder room as more the common position, but if he plays the angle right...
It's using a sound at that point, waiting for them to hit him, coming out of Pop Dog and towards main, and then facing at the right time. It's very tricky to play from that sort of angle, but can be surprising for the terrorists at least.
Yeah, it's all timing, peaking at the right moment. Smiths this time with RPK is going to have a 2-man setup toward Ivy. Very different in comparison to what LG were doing in this position because Cold was very passive, Fallen with the AWP as opposed to Smiths right now peeking down that corridor, was actually out toward Hell. So very different styles from the 2 CT sides so far. Shox also inside of the B side is going to support Body but still play close enough to fast rotate. And Scream has made it now with that shotgun in toward the ladder room.
Yeah. 35 seconds remain once again. Luminosity will be looking like they'll be heading towards outside. Taco waiting towards Ivy. RPK deep inside there as well. Be looking for that next kill. Going to be flashed in by the looks of things by his teammate. Going to go for the face now. It's a perfect time to do it. Doesn't spot anything though, so this could be beneficial for the terrorists.
Cold 0 with 1 quick kill. That shotgun from Scream though goes into him, rather, excuse me, with 1 quick death. It was Scream that got the kill, but RPK going to take down FNX. Fallen versus 5 is gone, and this is a bit of a problem because this is a reset. This is 4 rounds going the way of G2, 1 only for Luminosity, and everyone goes down. Fallen can't even save the AWP. G2 are definitely making a game out of this, and you go back 7-0 start. That discipline we talked about, managing the economy with no bomb plants, it's paying dividends now.
Yeah, G2 looking very strong right now. It's Luminosity, kind of their classic play, so we haven't seen too much aggression from them on the terrorist side here, not doing the fast outside pushes and using their raw skill to overwhelm the counter-terrorists at this point, just waiting until about the 30-second mark and then showing their hands slowly but surely, just pushing every key area of the map. It's not working out for them, they're all finding the picks here. And G2 are reacting at the right times with that decent flash coming in towards Ivy to getting intel at the right times and just crossfiring them towards the last moments. And Luminosity aren't finding any kills, so it's RPK to open things up. It's not a force buy from Luminosity, but they have invested. RPK going to be falling back at this stage. It looks like the bomb maybe straight towards the outside side. Just Fallen trying to rattle off some shots with the scout. Hasn't managed to land anything significant yet. There's 31 HP.
Do you want to know the absolutely crazy prospect of what can happen in this?
What?
Is if G2 actually complete this comeback and keep the economy in good form, it's going to be Luminosity versus Astralis in the bottom of the group to decide who's out. That's your two favorites in the group right there, and that is such a scary, scary proposition. That's reminiscent, as we watch RPK in great position to take down one, pops out, Smith hits the second shot on Fur. That's reminiscent of Season 1 Pro League, with the best-of-1 elimination match where Astralis and Fnatic had to play off in a decider match very early in the groups. I mean, this is insane what this could bring for the rest of the complexion of the tournament.
Definitely tantalizing. Looks like G2 now hitting up double figures. Luminosity still can't buy here, so they can't really justify much else than some upgraded pistols once again, and G2 definitely have closed the gap. They were 8-0 at one point, Luminosity. Now this is getting a little bit close for comfort. They're on the terrorist side of Train, and G2 seem like they're coming to life as well. Shoxy and Smiths doing incredible work, those AWPs, and RPK very strong as usual towards that Ivy area.
Fur advances quite quickly in toward the quad area. RPK, passive again with his AK, is going to have an easy time against Taco because his crosshair placement's perfect and Taco just walks in. No flashes, no additional utility, they just don't have it. They simply do not have it on this Luminosity side. His money is extremely hard to come by right now. Smith's going to go more passive. Single flash, it was used from Fur, but didn't even really account for much. It couldn't even get them that much more forward. He has made it into hell, though. And as they do get the shot on RPK, that gives a lot more movement for Fur to try and capitalize, but is 3 and they're desperate at this point in time. Jumps down, makes the movement. Smiths is there. Double AWP with 4 kills on Shocks.
It's all about Shocks that round, going for that aggressive lower ramp AWP skills. It's a very difficult angle to hold there. It's all down to that first shot. If you hit it, you find the confidence to stay a little bit longer, which he did. He gets a second, which is a fantastic shot. Just won the round single-handedly there. Body just backing up, taking the aggro from the upper platform as well. Shoxy falls back, gets 2 more, and that's actually broken Luminosity. They take a pause here as well. So their money currently set on, I think it's about 3K. I think they're a 4th state loss bonus. They get $2,900, so about 3K each. And it's going to be GT taking the lead here, presumably, Matt. This is kind of crazy considering the way this match opened. It's a best of 1, and Luminosity potentially letting this one slip away from them. 1 round so far on the second half. Currently 8-1. So G2 looking great. They've got tons of cash. Shoxy on almost 10K. The rest of his teammates kind of sitting around the 5.5K mark. Luminosity have a decision to make right now. They won't be able to buy into this round necessarily. They could just do a partial with like Tech9, Smokes, maybe do a set piece, try and get the bomb down and get that $3,400 going into the next. But still, G2, I'd say, was certainly taking the lead in this next one. Yeah, so here comes the buy now. Tech9 CZs, a couple of flashbangs, there's a smoke, body armor all round. And potentially they could bring a double AWP setup on the T side next. That could be an adjustment from them. Let's see what they bring to the table. Round number 25. This really is turning into an exciting game now, which looked like a bit of a stinker to kick things off.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is why G2 is one of their best maps where they like to play it. Still go toe-to-toe with some of the best.
Fallen. Lining up set smoke toward the inner sight.
Here we go. Set piece. Try and get the bomb down.
They need it. They're desperate. They're going to relinquish the lead right now. If they can't close out this with an eco, it's going to go to 13-12 in favor of G2 and a bomb plant. With 4 rounds plus bomb, it's going to be 5 rounds. It's going to be a full amount of cash injection, but Scream and Shock shutting down 2 before they even arrive. This bomb, it's a fake on the outer site. May not even get that far. Thankfully, Body doesn't face, and that Molotov won't reach the default site, so they will get their goal. But how much more can they get as Taco's picked up an M4? He goes back for the shot, takes down Scream as well. And they've given themselves somewhat of a chance in this round, but Smiths with the CZ75 is able to find Taco. And Cold, he's going to try and be cheeky just by staying on the site, letting them get closer, but he's got to be so quiet. He knows 2's on the other side, so he's pushed up the right play. But RPK still has the angle from upper, and it is going to be 13-12 for G2.
So Luminosity doing what they can to get the bomb down there. All the smoke towards outside. You can see it was an inside push coming in. They're trying to split between the connector and the lower ramp. Didn't really work out. Scream boosted up, had the perfect position on them, backed up by Shoxy as well. Get the plant, as you said, that's the main objective. It works out. They get tons of cash going into this round. Not the double AWP setup as I speculated. It's going to be the single with Fallen. Struggling a little bit. The buy once again. I'll adjust a little bit. It's not too bad in the end. So they got the Molotov. They have the smokes. And a full buy as well. But G2 have taken the lead. 13-12 now. We'll see what kind of setup the CT bring to the table this time. It's a fast play though. From next, he makes his way out of the main entrance.
Smiths, oh, this is bad because they've actually wrapped around behind him. They've gotten toward hell. RPK has to win this duel. He doesn't. That's a huge opening for them now because Smiths has switched to the season at 75. He knows the situation, but smart play. Very smart play as he wraps back around and is able to take them down before they can act. Not only that, Shox came over to support, and this is brilliant from G2. This timing on this CT side has been spot on because coldzera is now left alone, and he has to find 3 kills. A desperate round for Luminosity now. Desperate round for Cold.
He's going to do some work to contribute so far. Takes down Body now, a 2-on-1, but they do know his position. Shoxy and Scream remain. AWP and M4, they're sticking together though, making sure they refrag here and dime any sort of possibility for a 1-on-1 situation.
And they know they have that bomb as well, as it's far over toward them. Well inside the vision of the bomb site. As you say though, playing this buddy system, the refrag potential is massive, and Cold's going to have to read it. We've seen him pull off incredible clutches on this map before.
Yeah, but the problem is this time, so much work to do. Train is such a difficult map to get the bomb back and find an opening pick. The one thing he has in his favor, there was time available, but that's dwindling as well. We hit the 30-second mark, and he's still yet to make his mark here as we go towards Pop Dog. He presumably has to go down here, and it's one of the tightest choke points on the map to get out of. Let's see what he can do with it.
And he's still got another 4 seconds before he's really going to contact you. Quicker than that, obviously does find the first, but Scream sprays it down. He might have had a slow game to start, but a very important kill now as it goes to 2 rounds away from being Optic versus G2 and guaranteeing one of those teams to move on to the playoffs, and Luminosity playing off against Astralis in what would be a knockout game. This is not the Group A anyone predicted.
11-4 in the first half, and now it's 14-12 in favor of G2. Crazy performance on their CT side. Very efficient, looking very good right now. Winning all the clutches, having good crossfires, good adjustments as well, and the fast pushes coming out from Luminosity. It's the first time we've actually seen a very fast-paced play from them, and this time Smith opens things up. He takes down Fallen. He seems to be coming to life here.
Oh, RPK, Taco down. Good catch as the nade was drawn, but FNX is there to trade it. Still, though, they're down 2 man. Scream's going to rotate back around, and that leaves very little room for FNX as Smiths is also creeping up beside him. He needs to be so careful with this smoke out to make sure he finds the angle. Spots Smiths, but goes for the repeak, and crosshair placement not perfect. Smith's already drawn with the AWP scoped in. Easy shot. And Cold again, this time even less of a chance. 1 versus 4, missing the shot. It's going to be map point for G2.
What is
8-0 to 12-15.
And the thing is, right now, Luminosity only get $3,400 going into this round. That was a pretty devastating one for them to lose, so they're going to have an AKs, Gilil's with some Tech 9s here. But they're struggling. 1 round for GT will do it. This is not what I was expecting.
This means as well that if it goes to Luminosity Astralis, that game is tonight. The decider match for that group is tonight, which means one of these 2 teams is going to play 1 day of Counter-Strike in this very large-scale tournament. That's huge.
Well, it looks like Luminosity, the last-ditch attempt to smokes towards outside, flashes as well, but Shoxy aggressive towards main, getting tons of info here, calling there's nothing happening. Body gets the first kill and survives as well, falls back through the smoke. He gets a drop on towards Taco. 5-4, and they've readjusted as well, so this is a nightmare for Luminosity.
coldzera. Watching the inner bomb site, but it's fallen already down the ladder. A man down again. When was the last time they had the first pick? Riddle me that.
Well, he put out a miracle here. Gilil's second hands 1 AK to stay alive.
Shock's going to get aggressive on this as well. He may have an angle drawn toward Fallen. Thankfully, there's a smoke out, which will actually buy Fallen some space, but more crucial than all of this situation on the inner bomb site is that Body has made it to the corner of inner once more. So as we're now shown, he's able to push up. He's able to wrap into a position where there's absolutely 0 map control. Fallen's going to wait. The goal now is to try and allow LG to win the duel at Ivy. They have to find RPK. He's gone low, but he still finds the first kill. It's traded. FNX, still down a man, is going to try and get toward the site. And Fallen will now peek. They're going to play off of each other, but Scream wins the duel once again. Fallen, good find on the Smiths, but they've closed it out, and G2 are going to play Optic to decide who moves forward. And it's Luminosity Astralis going home today. One of those 2 teams in a best of 3 this evening.
That's such a cool storyline. The underdogs prevailing in both of our opening games here. Luminosity, we thought this was a foregone conclusion. There's no logical reason to say G2 were going to win this. And it seemed like that was going to be true. 8-0 in the first half. Looked like Luminosity reading it perfectly. G2 were very quiet to wake up. But when they started adjusting and actually making sure their game was actually a little bit more on points compared to what Luminosity were presenting to them, they got the 4 rounds, and that's all they needed. They come back in the second and win 12-1. They just shut down Luminosity. Shoxy and Smith, very influential there, and RPK were fantastic game towards the Ivy area. That's another position. We talk about him on long A in the pit, for example. He seems so good now. He's kind of finding that form we were familiar from with Source and stuff like that, but holding positions by himself, finding 1 or 2 frags every single time. just so effective in those kind of anchor positions, and he does it once again. And what a performance from G2.
Incredible performance and a lackluster T side from.
They didn't have that mojo. They found like they never really got rolling. They only did one aggressive round there, like one of those fast outside pushes.
And we also talk about just their huge execution potential, and it was getting shut down by losing the first pick every time. Passive G2 as well, but that said, I mean, there's so much to be said about this game, and there is a very trusty panel standing by ready to do exactly that.
And the surprises keep on coming. G2 have just taken Luminosity down in a best of one. It happened first with Optic. We doubted them, and understandably so. And this one was a similar story. We came into this one anticipating Luminosity after a hot performance in Austin, Texas not too long ago, DreamHack. Expecting to see them just hit the ground running once again against a weak G2. Gents, you need to help me. We've got 3 minutes to try and put into perspective how this result came about. We'll start with you, Jason.
One of the keys that we brought up that Luminosity was going to be really strong was that double op setup on their CT side especially, and G2 actually managed to overcome that. I mean, it went out to that 8-0, but eventually they rattled off 2 to 3 rounds in a row, and then Luminosity could no longer afford that. That got them that window of opportunity for the second half, and then it was Luminosity, I think, that kind of dropped the ball. They touched on it on the desk. That force buy in the third round, all Tech 9 armors after they get 4 kills. What that essentially did was make sure that their economy wasn't strong until later on. They couldn't really go deep into the playbook because they didn't have all the nades and have the AK-47s. They couldn't really test so much the defense at those early stages of that second half. That allowed G2 to get the ball rolling, allowed them to build up some of their own money, and then by the time Luminosity could have a strong buy, they just didn't have enough rounds to play with to kind of probe that defense and figure things out.
Basically, they pulled an Envious.
Yeah,
forcing
Envy.
Forcing 2 times in a row. I mean, in the first half, I have to give praise to G2 on their T side because they lost 8 rounds in a row. It's really easy to fall apart at that point, but they kept trying. They realized, as Henry mentioned, they didn't have hold control at times, and the easiest thing to do is just go B because they've been going A all the time out of defaults and everything. But they didn't fall for it. You could see that Luminosity had 3 players towards the B bomb side. They kept going for A. Altered a bit the way they executed and managed to string a couple of really important rounds for them. And on the other hand, it's really important to mention that even after losing all those rounds, so Luminosity is 4-0 down in the second half, they finally have a good buy, they win a round, they lose the following round.
Yeah.
And at that point, G2 has a lot of money on their side. They have all the Molotovs, all the grenades to hold off LG, and at times, I have to say, LG looked a bit reckless in their play, right? They looked like they were out to prove something, and just losing a couple of players when they weren't supposed to, or going for some plays that were too aggressive, in the end cost them economy, if not the round itself.
I was going to say a lot of the rounds early on in that second half seemed much more like slow paced and less aggressive than we're used to from Luminosity. In terms of aggressiveness, in terms of like trying to chase down that first kill, because that's always been their strength they've talked about, is that their T sides are meant to get that first kill and then just kind of exploit the defense from there and just kind of wheel it or wing it and see what you can find. But they seemed very, very passive to start rounds out. A lot of those defaults lasted like 40, 50 seconds into the round.
You could see they almost ran out of time, and that Galeron was forced to save the AWP. And just one quick point I want to make is with that force, but it's not a problem. It was pretty, they wanted to surprise them. You could see that they had a 5-7 and 4 MP9s on the side of G2. They were expecting a full eco. The problem is you're not under pressure. You had 11 rounds in the first half. You have a strong T side in general. Why do it? Why put yourself in this spot where something like this could exactly happen? This will not happen often. It will happen maybe 1 out of 5 times, maybe something like that. But still, why risk it? You could just play the safe game and go for the outplay in the end.
Yeah, it seems like whenever Luminosity do have a trip and a stumble, it's because of a risk taken. We've seen this in previous tournaments as well, talking Malmo. But I mean, we have to talk about what that means now, right, guys? Astralis and Luminosity are now both knocked down into that lower bracket, which means one of these two...
So happy, so excited for
One
that.
of these teams we expected both of these to be in the playoffs. And now already one of them is going to have to go down.
I mean, Santa Convention, it is like a flashback to Season 1 when Astralis and Fnatic played. So, I mean, that was one of like the most hype matches that I've ever seen. Because that was a best of 1. This is going to be a best of 3, I believe.
Yes.
Just to reiterate that before we went on air, I asked about 5 times. But yeah, that's going to be, I mean, what a sick series to have. One that, like, you could see that being like a semifinal or a grand final. Well, maybe not a grand final, it's Astralis, but semifinal or a quarterfinal or something like that.
I like it. And
Yeah, you like that?
on that
One last
bombshell,
dig?
Astralis versus Luminosity is going to be played in the best of 3, of course, later on. Mind-boggling stuff, and we'll see if the trend can continue now, as we've got Cloud9 coming up next versus Fnatic. We already mentioned it's a weak Fnatic. In fact, this was one of the games we outlined as potentially being a North American team getting through in the upper bracket. We are going to go ahead and take a break, but when we come back, we will be seeing just what Cloud9 can do versus Fnatic.